June 10th, 2019, it has been 28 years, 11 months, and 16 days since I masturbated or had an affair. So that's my sobriety definition, and I'm sticking it to the ground. I'm sticking my courage to the sticking post, as they say. This is from Mighty Mac from San Francisco, and my friend Oliver from Denmark, originally from Iceland. And they want to know about codependent relationships and how to have healthy relationships. In the previous 3 videos, we talked about all kinds of disastrous relationships that sounded pretty much like that when you felt them. So I began from 16 when I became orgasmically sexual until I was 35, so for 19 years. After my relationship with C, my heart was so broken, I made a decision. The decision was this: I love sex, but I don't want to get hurt, so I'm just going to have sex without feelings. I made a conscious decision. That is a prescription for addiction. Prescription. Because what we believe is recovery is about connecting your feelings up with your mind and your body. That's why in our prayer call, 6 times a day, we start with feelings and end with feelings 6 times a day. That's the solution. But at that point, I didn't know that. At 16, I just didn't know it. So for 19 years, I would go through 300 women. 300 had sex with them. And you know, some people brag about that kind of thing, but that's not something to brag about. That's something to be sad about. That's not a man who's winning. That's a man who's running. He's running from himself, and that's sad. I was running from myself for 19 years until I got sexually sober. So what did so fast forward from 16 to 35, I get into recovery, and I learned some things. What do I need to have healthy relationships? The first thing I need is my feelings. I need to be able to feel how I feel. Because if I'm going to be in a relationship with somebody, I've got to have something to bring to the relationship. And the way I find out who I am is how I feel. Like right now, I'm feeling a little tired, feeling a little needy, feeling some sadness, feeling very hot. It's an extremely hot day here in San Francisco. I'm feeling thirsty, feeling lean, feeling excited, feeling a touch needy, feeling underslept. That's how I feel. Now, what I do is I take that gift and I hand it to my partner, and then she says how she feels. And when we share how we feel, that becomes intimacy. That is the basis of healthy relationships. It's not bumping uglies. That ain't the basis of a relationship. If you do that, it's just sex addiction with another partner, and you'll get addicted, and your life will sound like this, and you don't want that. It'll just be pain. So the first thing is I have to have my feelings so that I can share it with somebody. The second thing I need for a healthy relationship is I need to have boundaries. Now, boundaries are what separates me from you in a healthy way, not to keep distance, but so that you don't glom onto people like I did in the first, second, and third videos. Excuse me, just glomming, especially the first video about bad relationships, just glomming, just, oh, be with me, I don't want to be alone, somebody, that kind of craziness. That's just craziness. It's relational craziness. So I have to have boundaries and say, you know, I can be with you for 3 hours, but after that, I've got to go home and play my guitar. That's, you know, or you can come over, but you can't come over and take drugs in my house. Boundaries are something you set with other people. You can smoke if you want, but you can't smoke in my house or around my kids. That's you set boundaries. If you want to play loud music, you can do it, but you can't do it after 11 o'clock. If you're my neighbor, you set boundaries with other people so that you don't get harmed. Or if you want to say racial jokes, say them to somebody else. You can't say them to me. Or if you want to curse, you can't curse around my children. That's called setting boundaries. You do that with other people. If I don't set boundaries with other people, what happens is I start to feel hurt and I start to feel victimized, and then pornography and masturbation looks like a good idea. So my relational health is what gives me the safety to not act out. So setting boundaries is part 2. Part 3 is announcing limits. Limits, and I inadvertently said this last time, limits is what you say, what I will do and what I will not do. If my boss wants me to work extra 2 hours, but I've got my kid a game, I say I can work an extra 1 hour. Or if my girlfriend wants me to go visit her mother for a month, I'll say I'll visit her for 3 days. Or if somebody wants me to donate to their cause, I'll say I'll give you $75, but I won't give you $5,000. It's announcing limits. And if I don't go beyond, if I stay within my limits, then I feel safe and I don't act out. But if I go beyond them, then I feel put upon and used and angry and codependent rage, and then I act out. So feelings, boundaries, and limits. the last thing I need to be healthy before I launch into a relationship, and we'll talk about launching a relationship next, but these are the 4 tools I've got to have before I do that, is I've got to be able to meet my needs for love and belonging, and my needs for esteem of others. Okay, everybody has that. But if I go into a relationship letting my need for love and belonging being met by my girlfriend, then I'm addicted to my girlfriend. That's the wrong place to get that met. That needs to be met with my sponsor, my program buddies, or my friends. And later on, I can start to do it for myself. Not at the beginning. I don't have the chops to do spiritual chops. And the other thing is my need for esteem. It's important that somebody says to you, you know, you're valuable. If you were gone, I'd miss you. You'd be a hole in my life. I love you. You mean a lot to me. I think about you and I want to call you on the phone and tell you about what's going on and have your feedback. That's esteem of others. So those 2 needs, love and belonging and esteem of others, has to be met. If you haven't got those skills, feelings, boundaries, limits, and needs. We said fight back, live now. Feelings, boundaries, limits, needs. Fight back, live now. If you haven't got that, you're going to end up in a codependent, love-addicted relationship that's going to cause you incredible pain and sound like this. And you don't want that. In the years that I've been in recovery, I've seen 14 people kill themselves because they didn't have the skills of feelings, boundaries, limits, and needs. What we believe is this addiction eventually leads to insanity, institutionalization, or death. I've seen it 14 times. And so the smart money is consider feelings, boundaries, limits, and needs. If you don't know what that means, ask your sponsor. Go to prayer call. Go to actwithcourage.com and read about it. It's free. Or go to prayer call and ask somebody to be your sponsor and say, what does that mean? What are feelings, boundaries, limits, and needs? I want a girlfriend. I want to have sex. I want a relationship. I want to be in love. I want to have children. I want to create family. But I haven't got the skill set. I'm all torn up inside. Ask someone to help you, because that teachability is called humility. It's not groveling. It's saying, you can do something I can't. Show me. And one of us men will be glad to help you. So that's the basic skill set. Feelings, boundaries, limits, needs. Next time we're going to talk about, since you're loaded to loaded for bear at that point, what do you do to approach a woman?